Raptors is equal to the power of about 64 747s.
Yeah, that's just crazy, Amanda. The power this rocket generates is incredible. To be specific, it's over 16.7 million pounds of thrust. Numbers almost incomprehensible, but it's just crazy. All right, to break it down, Starship is made of two parts. First is the Super Heavy booster, which is powered by 33 of those Raptor engines that run on liquid methane and liquid oxygen. And second is the Starship upper stage, powered by 6 Raptor engines. 3 are optimized for sea level performance, and 3 are for vacuum performance with that larger nozzle extension. All right, it's the Starship second stage that will one day carry cargo, payloads, and people all the way to Mars and beyond.
The Super Heavy booster is designed to launch, separate, flip, and return to the launch site where it can be caught by the chopsticks on the launch tower. However, as previously noted, we won't be attempting one of those catches today. Starship, on the other hand, re-enters the Earth's atmosphere at the conclusion of its mission, steering itself to a vertical landing or catch. And both stages are designed to return to Earth and fly again, making this the first rocket in history that will be fully reusable.
Yeah, and we cannot forget that between the two vehicles is the hot stage ring, a structure made of steel that allows the ship's engines to ignite while still attached to the booster, enabling a faster and more efficient stage separation. Right now, that hot stage ring is single use, but in the future, it will be built in directly to the V3 booster forward end.
And finally, the infrastructure built to support Starship is referred to as Stage 0. This includes the launch pads, tank farm, and the launch towers, which hold the chopsticks that catch the Super Heavy booster and eventually will also catch the ship.
Yeah, and to get us ready for launch today, we recently conducted another static test fire, basically where we fire up the engines to mimic a launch without actually launching. You're seeing the booster on the screen right now. It's a crucial milestone to let us know we're ready to go. And then here we're seeing ship. We did this for the second time on a retrofitted mount on Pad 1. We had a full 9-second duration burn on all 6 engines.
We should also note that today's launch on Pad 1 is intended to be the last launch on this pad in this configuration. As we head into the next generation Starship flight test program, we'll be modifying Pad 1 to meet the demands of our future missions.
Yeah, and among many other things, we're installing a new orbital launch mount, a new flame trench system, and upgrading the chopsticks for future catches. So until that's complete, we'll be running operations from Pad 2, which will be coming online very soon. All right, let's go over to Hawthorne, where Tyler is ready to talk a little Starlink.
Thank you, Jake and Amanda. My name is Tyler Lionquist, and I'm a Starlink business analyst here at SpaceX. Starlink is SpaceX's low Earth orbit, high-speed internet that's bringing connectivity both on Earth and in space. So Starship is outfitted again today with 4 Starlink terminals, powering those incredible live shots of ship in orbit, through re-entry, and then all the way down to splashdown in the Indian Ocean. Now, we've had a couple of recent milestones that are worth celebrating. Back in September, we launched Starlink for its 300th time, and this summer, we surpassed 7 million active customers with service available across 150 countries and territories. We've come a really long way since turning on service for our first paying customer in rural Idaho 5 years ago, back in October of 2020.
Maples are looking beautiful.
I'm Wendy Layer. I live in Sandpoint, Idaho, and we are the first Starlink customers.
With Starlink, we didn't have to compromise on where we live due to the lack of technology.
The minute they turned it on, we could stream a movie, we could video chat, we could play games on the internet without a lot of lag. I changed jobs earlier this year, so now I actually have the ability to work remote.
Here's my house. Program runs on the cloud. I can send anything I want out to get prices and designs.
I like to bake, so I've been able to research recipes and try new things.
Good day, go for a walk.
Good day for a walk.
We can live very rural, and yet we are connected to anybody like in the city.
And I'm happy to report that Wendy and Sean are still Starlink customers today. So in just over 5 years, we've added dedicated services for aviation, maritime, RVs, and rail, and have expanded our emergency response capabilities. We've activated high-quality internet for millions of people, including those that live in some of the most remote places on Earth. Starlink is enabling rural school districts, counties, and tribal governments to offer online access to education, telemedicine, and many other critical services, in some cases for the first time ever. And yet, a third of the planet continues to go without access to reliable high-speed internet, so there's a lot more work for us to do. But Starlink was designed from the very beginning to meet these needs. And as each new version of Starlink comes online, the constellation's capacity and performance increases significantly. The larger V3 satellites that will deploy from Starship will bring gigabit connectivity to users and are designed to add 60 terabits per second of downlink capacity to the Starlink network. That's more than 20 times the capacity added with every V2 mini launch on the Falcon 9. And then on the cellular front, last month, SpaceX announced a deal that provides Starlink with exclusive spectrum for its next generation direct-to-cell satellites, which will be capable of providing broadband service to cell phones globally. Starlink is the largest 4G coverage provider on Earth. Over 7 million people across 5 continents already rely on Starlink to connect their LTE phones to data, voice, video, and messaging, where terrestrial service is unavailable. So we're excited to have the opportunity to help close those coverage gaps and ultimately eliminate mobile dead zones around the world. So yeah, there's a lot happening with Starlink, and there's a lot more to come. So let's head back to Amanda and Jake at Starbase to take us through today's flight profile.
Thank you so much, Tyler. So today's float profile, we're looking to get our second re-entry with this iteration of ship. And prior to every launch, we work closely with the FAA and international air traffic organizations to efficiently and safely integrate launch and re-entry operations into the airspace.
And we've got a special guest here.
Today.
We're live.
What's up, guys?
How's it going? Good to see you, boss.
Hi.
Hey. How's the webcam?
Good. We're live right now.
What the?
Yeah. Getting ready for Flight
Wanna say
11.
hi?
How are you feeling for it?
Good. This is the first time that I'm going to be actually outside standing and watching the rocket. Normally I'm in mission control and stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
But now I'll be standing out in the garden there.
Okay.
So
Awesome.
it's really going to be much more visceral.
Yeah. Yeah. You're gonna feel
Great
it.
place
It's
to
gonna
watch.
be. It's gonna be. It's gonna be awesome.
All
We'll be in here this time, but usually we're out there watching. Yeah.
right, sounds good.
Good
All
luck
right, later.
and have fun.
Have fun.
All right, so that was an exciting cameo there. But yeah, starting with liftoff, we'll get into the flight profile here. Super Heavy will ignite 33 engines, 24 of which are flight proven today. We'll power through ascent ahead of hot stage separation, where
¿Qué tal, gente? ¿Cómo están? Bienvenidos a la transmisión en vivo de Starship de Fly número 11. Hoy, 13 de octubre, tenemos el lanzamiento número 11, como acabo de decir, de la Starship. Y bueno, nada, quería compartirlo acá en el canal, ir hablando un poquito con ustedes. Ya falta poco, estamos a 15 minutos. Vamos a ver cómo va todo. Recién estábamos mirando un poco la propaganda de Starlink. Vamos a seguir escuchando un poquito, a ver qué dicen. Estaba Elon Musk recién ahí hablando también.
This is planned to be the final launch of this version of Starship, version number 2. Right now we're actively building multiple next generation V3 Starship and Super Heavy vehicles in the factory, kind of right behind us, so let's take a minute and nerd out a little bit. All right. Those are going to be launching from Pad 2, which is nearing completion down here at Starbase. Both the pad and the vehicles are going to roll in really significant changes. This is building on everything we've learned from all of these flight tests to make a vehicle that we're looking to mass produce. Starting with the Starship upper stage, which is going to look pretty similar on the outside, but it's getting pretty much a complete overhaul under the hood. We're getting major design changes to its propulsion system that's going to accommodate that new version of Raptor, which puts out higher thrust. We're also getting an energy storage upgrades, tons of avionics changes, a lot of things that will enable longer duration missions. One notable thing you'll start seeing on the outside are these new docking adapters, which we'll use when we bring 2 starships together for propellant transfer. That's a core capability of Starship that we're going to demonstrate next year. Bottom line, though, this is the Starship we're planning to use for all of our next major milestones, orbital missions, return to launch.
Bueno, les voy a ir contando un poquito de lo que se va a tratar el vuelo antes que empiece. Lo más básico para que vayan sabiendo. Nuevamente, este vuelo es de prueba, por supuesto, como ya saben. Y bueno, lo que va a suceder en este vuelo, se va a hacer unas pruebas con el lanzamiento, como ya saben, como son con todos los otros vuelos, también con los satélites que van a estar colocados adentro de la nave, satélites falsos por cierto, que se va a ir desplegando de a poco. Si vieron el directo pasado, ya sabrán de lo que estoy hablando. Y bueno, en lo que consiste más que nada este vuelo es el lanzamiento, el despliegue de los satélites y la reentrada. En este caso, nuevamente, lo que es el booster no va a ser atrapado por las pinzas, como se ve ahí en la torre, sino que va a reentrar en el Golfo de México, y también la nave va a aterrizar sobre el agua, sobre una plataforma, como pasó en el video pasado, solo que en el video pasado no aterrizó derecho y se fue de costado. A ver si puedo tratar de seguir escuchando qué están diciendo por ahí mientras vamos hablando un poquito más. Como ya saben, la idea de todo esto es siempre que tanto el cohete, que es el booster, siempre vuelva y sea reutilizable, y lo que es la nave, la Starship, también. Y obviamente estas pruebas siempre son a lo máximo, a tratar de exigir a máximo el escudo, a máximo los motores.
Thank you, Dan. Indeed, Starship's heat shield is the linchpin to full and rapid reusability. We can't launch, land, refuel, and launch again if we have to spend months refurbishing the heat shield after every launch, like they did in the Space Shuttle program. So, in a future where Starship is flying several times a day, many thousands of heat shield tiles will be required. So, yeah, we need to get cooking on those tiles.
Vamos a ver cómo va la ronda de preguntas. Bueno, tenemos una pregunta muy básica, muy sencilla. A ver si despegará la Starship. Sí, la mayoría puso que sí, por supuesto, eso. Va a ser muy difícil que haya problemas en eso. Los despegues ya son algo normal. Ahora sí vamos a escuchar un poco más a ver qué van diciendo por ahí. Si se animan a comentar, si quieren preguntar algo, alguna información, no hay problema. Ya hemos visto algunas tablas. Recién estábamos viendo también lo que eran las dos Starship acopladas, pasándose combustible. Eso obviamente es algo en 3D. También vimos el trayecto que va a ser. Luego, cuando tengamos el lanzamiento, yo voy a salir a la pantalla, no voy a estar molestando acá. Ahora simplemente para ir comentando con ustedes. Vamos a escuchar un poquito más a ver.
Tiles are next to each other, you've got a small bit in between that's going to help offset that heating. It's just one of the ways we're continuing to iterate on this heat shield, getting towards rapid reusability. Hopefully it's going to help Starship live Moss. You know, everything is just going to get us to that end state of a fully and rapidly reusable vehicle. So pretty much the entire vehicle has those on it today. We've done this on multiple Starships previously, but this time pretty much the whole vehicle has it. So that was special for today. All right, enough heat shield tiles. Let's go quick check-in on the pad. So if you did notice, we did shift our T0 just a little bit. We're now counting down to 6:23 and 41 seconds Central Time. We shifted a little bit as we were working to finish clearing the range. We are monitoring sea and air space, both here over the Gulf and in our splashdown location over on the Indian Ocean. We were working with the FAA, a lot of other international agencies to coordinate all of this. Good news, range is currently green. We're able to get everything out of the way that we are tracking in the Gulf. So weather status, I don't even really need to do, not a cloud in the sky.
Bueno, ahí estábamos viendo recién lo que era una parte del escudo, ¿sí? Eso negro que estaban viendo recién es la parte del escudo, lo cual él lo estaba agarrando con un trapo y unos guantes, porque del lado de atrás tenemos lo que es la fibra de vidrio, y lo que es del lado de adelante la placa refractoria, que es lo que ayuda a la reentrada de la Starship. Ahora ahí tenemos en pantalla lo que es el llenado de los tanques. A ver si voy a salir de aquí. Ahí tenemos la temperatura, el viento, el llenado de los tanques.
Thrust, which is more than the power of 3.5 Saturn V rockets, which is just crazy. We're also looking for civil and structural engineers to help literally build the future.
Whether it's buildings like the Gigabays currently going up at both Starbase and the Cape, each is a massive vertical integration and assembly facility with over 700,000 square feet of workspace. Both sites are currently in progress, actually going vertical as we speak. Or you could be designing the Starship launch sites of the future. There's really no shortage of future to build here. To see.
Bueno, ahí estábamos viendo recién todo lo que es la playa de Boca Chica, que es donde está el Starbase. Es donde se encuentra toda la instalación de SpaceX. Teníamos esa toma de arriba. Teníamos todo lo que es la ciudad de Elon Musk, de SpaceX. Ahí tenemos la Starship ya casi que a punto. Teníamos la toma del edificio también, de la fábrica de Elon Musk, donde se le diseña la Starship y los motores, también todo lo que es el booster. Bueno, hoy tenemos de vuelta la carga, lo que es el oxígeno y lo que es el metano. Lo que vendría a ser LOX es oxígeno líquido y lo otro es metano. Tenemos también un tanque de reserva ahí. Ya vemos que está a un 97. Tenemos el oxígeno líquido a un 97 y el metano a un 98 en lo que es la Starship. Y lo que es el Heavy Booster tenemos un 95 y un 92. A nada de terminar la carga.
have the ability to recycle the count under certain conditions.
A nada de terminar y a nada del conteo. Estamos a 3 minutos, gente, del lanzamiento. Estamos a nada del lanzamiento. Como les decía, tenemos el LOX, que es oxígeno líquido, y CH, que es el metano líquido. Miren qué hermosa toma que tenemos ahí. Qué belleza. Estamos a nada. Ahora cuando quede un minuto yo voy a salir de la pantalla. También voy a apagar el micrófono y vamos a dedicarle simplemente a la transmisión oficial. Pero estamos a nada, gente.
We're not constantly topping off the propellant in these vehicles, so we have about a 7-8 minute window where we can wait.
Menos de 3 minutos y estamos prontos.
We're not currently tracking a reason to hold there. Again, our range continues to be green as we look at sea and airspace both out over the Gulf and in our reentry zone out in the Indian Ocean. All right, 2 minutes, 15 seconds to go.
Bueno, estamos a nada, 2 minutos.
For Flight 11, planned to be the last launch of this version of Starship and Super Heavy. Once again, we're really focused on getting ship over to reentry. Once we get to that phase, we're going to dive in. There's a lot of exciting stuff that's going to be happening on our way back through and down to the ground, hopefully out in the Indian Ocean. Minute 45. Should hopefully be seeing.
Ahí tenemos los Raptor. Miren lo que
There's a quick wiggle check.
Ahí están chequeando los Raptor.
Checking out the thrust vector control, the steering on the booster. We use those inner 13 engines.
Qué belleza.
Doing their one final dance before the big show. And we'll do that one more time after we cross that T-minus 40 gate. All right, range continues to be green.
Bueno, estamos a 1 minuto.
Still not tracking any issues on vehicle or pad. 1 minute to go.
Bueno, yo salgo, gente.
As a reminder, we can hold at T-minus 40. We're not planning to. All right. We're through T-minus 40. Let's listen in. Flight Director Ty Huntington back in the seat. Take us through the final
Flight
seconds
Directors, go
until
for launch. T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have liftoff. Go Super Heavy. Go Starship. Thanks for all the historic flights, Pad 1.
Vehicles pitching downrange. Booster Raptor chamber pressure nominal. Booster and ship nominal power and telemetry.
All right, we are about 45 seconds into flight. We're still getting the rattle here at Star Factory. We are seeing 33 out of 33 Raptor engines lit on Super Heavy as it arcs across the Gulf. Coming up next on Max Q.
Max
All right,
Q.
So at this point, we've passed through that period of maximum aerodynamic pressure. The next thing we're looking forward to is going to be hot staging. So we've got 33 out of 33 Raptors lit. Super Heavy makes its way uphill. Hot staging is going to be coming up in just a little over a minute. At that point, we're going to see all but 3 of those Raptor engines on Super Heavy shut down. Our version of MECO. Most engines cut off instead of main engine. And then after that, we're going to release the clamps that are currently holding Starship to that hot stage adapter. It's then going to ignite its 6 Raptor engines to push it away from Super Heavy and then start making its flight uphill. So in about 30 seconds, we're going to see the engine start to shut down on Super Heavy. You'll see them kind of shut off in separate banks until we've just got those 3 center engines that never stop running for this process, and then looking for 6 ship Raptors.
Bueno.
All right.
Miren eso. Bueno, se viene
MECO
el
coming up in
giro,
about 10
Se
seconds.
viene la separación. Whoa.
See the engines throttling down.
Booster engine cut off. Ship ignition.
Ignición de la nave, de la Starship, separación.
Stage separation. Boost back burn startup.
All right, successful hot staging maneuver. So we've got 12 of the 13 engines lit back up on boosters, so it's doing its boost back. Real excitingly,
Ship
though,
chamber
we've
pressure's
got 6
nominal.
out of 6 Raptors lit on ship there, so it's now going to continue to make its ascent into outer space.
Un éxito.
Meanwhile, this boost back is happening. We're using those 13 engines, so everything, well, 12 out of the 13, and then we go down to 3, and then we're going to shut down for the end of boost back. That's sending Super Heavy back towards its planned splashdown zone in the Gulf. Right after we finish this boost back burn, we're also going to separate the hot stage. This will be the final time
Boost back
that
burn
we're
shut
doing
down.
this. Is all right, there's the end of the boost back burn.
Bueno, ahora tenemos la vuelta del booster. Ahí tenemos en la esquina superior, inferior, izquierda, tenemos el booster volviendo al Golfo de México. Tenemos la altitud, la velocidad, 2 kilómetros. Y tenemos la toma de... Ahí tenemos la toma del booster volviendo. Y del lado derecho tenemos la velocidad de la Starship y los motores encendidos.
Them, and the hot stage will go down and splash down in the Gulf.
Y del otro lado tenemos, vieron que está el booster ahí, y del otro lado tenemos el anillo, que eso se descarta.
You guys with me down there?
Yeah, definitely. The crowd is gathering over here in the office. You can definitely feel the energy in here. Great to see that booster is making its way down to the splashdown zone in the Gulf.
Yeah, the shaking down here was absolutely nuts. The windows are still there, still intact. So
bueno, ahí
that
se
was pretty
despidió el
awesome.
anillo.
But yeah, booster's coming
Y ahora
down. We're at
estamos
about
viendo el
30
booster solo.
kilometers. About. All right, yeah, and as we approach that landing,
Y se
just
ve
like tower
gracias al
catches,
sol,
we
si no,
will
no
be
se
doing
vería.
a 13
Tenemos
engine
esa
landing
toma
burn to
gracias
slow
al
down.
sol,
This time it will be in a V3
que lo está
configuration.
iluminando. Ahí viene el booster, ahí viene el booster.
And as we're starting to get into the denser part of the atmosphere, the booster is using 4 hypersonic grid fins to guide
Ahí
itself
tenemos la
through
toma de
atmospheric
día.
entry towards its landing site.
And we're just
Ship
about
chamber
20
pressure's
seconds away
nominal.
from landing burn start, where we'll first ignite the center 13 engines, then bring that down to 5 to slow down the booster for landing. And finally, that will come down to 3, and we'll cut all of them off while we're still about 200 meters in the air. So Booster is gonna see a bit of a harder
Booster landing, we'll start it. Booster landing, we're in shutdown.
And there we heard it, booster landing burn shutdown. We saw a 13 to 5 to 3 V3 demonstration, and into the water we go. Wow, that was absolutely awesome. If you can even hear us right now, congrats to the whole SpaceX team. So far, so good for today. That was incredible.
All right, great stuff, guys. I'm jealous of the crowd. All right, back to ship. Ship's still making its way. We've got a little under 2 minutes left in this ascent burn, so we've got all 6 Raptor engines still firing. So the next major milestone we're going to be looking for is SECO. That's our second stage engine cutoff. That's should be coming right at about 8 minutes and 58 seconds into flight, so we've got about 1:20 still to go. Really cool to see Booster go through that that landing burn. That was one of our really key demonstrations we wanted to try and do today.
Y ahora sí vamos a seguir con la otra etapa, la etapa SECO. Y bueno, el booster ya pasó a otra vida.
To go. So we are going to see the 3 RVACs, the vacuum optimized engines, shut down first, and then we'll shut down those 3 center engines. So we should be a little under a minute until SECO. Just a reminder, this is putting us into a suborbital trajectory, so we're intentionally just going slow enough that we're not going to achieve full orbit. This puts us on a course where those engines shut off, and no matter what, we're coming back.
Starship is in terminal guidance.
In the Indian Ocean. All right, terminal guidance. So we should start seeing the shutdowns come up in just a couple seconds. Less than 30 seconds to go in this ship ascent burn. All right, RVACs have shut off. 3 more to go.
Ship engine cutoff.
All right, all ship Raptors have shut down.
Nominal orbit insertion.
You just heard nominal orbital insertion, so we are on the path that we wanted to be. So we've got a ship back in space, a whole lot planned for it, lots more still to come. Great seeing Super Heavy make its way to the water, but I'm excited to see what ship can do in space. How's everybody doing down there?
Bueno, ahí ya llegó la etapa SECO, ya los motores apagados.
Yeah, if you could hear the crowd behind us this whole time, people are definitely happy with how the day's been panning out so far.
Lo que son los alerones, cómo se están desplegando, cómo se mueven.
And super pumped to see all the team's hard work in action here today.
Yeah, and we guaranteed it at the start of the show, but it has been an awesome
Bueno, ahora ya el Starship ya está sin motores.
All this has happened in just 10 minutes. All the objectives were met on the booster, including that V3 style landing burn. So now all eyes are on the ship as we get ready for our in-space objectives. But we've got a few minutes until that next milestone, so sit tight, enjoy the views, enjoy the space jams. We'll be back at T plus 16 minutes for
Tenemos la telemetría del lado derecho. Bueno, ahora ya pasamos a la etapa donde la Starship empieza a orbitar. Ya sin motores. Gente, ahora volví, ya que ya pasamos las etapas más bellas, por así decirlo, de lo que es el lanzamiento. Recuerden que este es el último lanzamiento de este bloque, tanto de la Starship como el booster. Luego ya se pasa a otra etapa. Ya la Starship cambiaría y el booster también. Por ahora todo va en orden. Tenemos, como les decía, tenemos la velocidad al lado izquierdo, lado en la pantalla, abajo, izquierda, tenemos la velocidad, la altitud, y luego del lado derecho tenemos la telemetría y la ubicación por donde en este preciso momento está pasando la Starship orbitando sobre la Tierra. Recuerden que bueno, el booster ya volvió y explotó sobre el Pacífico. Ya se sabía que se iba a descartar, así que no es algo que haya que catalogarlo como algo malo. Sí, la reentrada fue excelente. Ahí tenemos la toma. Acaba de pasar por Cuba. Acaba de pasar por Cuba la Starship. Ahí tenemos justamente la ubicación por Centroamérica, por Cuba. Hay noticias de que acaba de pasar por Cuba. Bueno, ahí tenemos el recorrido de la Starship. Tenemos de dónde despegó y por dónde va ahora. Hermosa esa toma. Bueno, ahí vuelve de vuelta los comentaristas en la transmisión. Bueno, saludo de vuelta a todos los que están ahí del otro lado. Muchas gracias por estar ahí. Pueden comentar, pueden preguntar, pueden sumarse. Yo a medida que la transmisión va pasando, en los momentos más claves, voy saliendo de la pantalla y voy tratando de no molestar con el audio.
Great flight so far. Booster able to make it all the way to its splashdown and landing burn experiment, so that was really exciting to see. We got ship
Decíamos que había pasado por Cuba recién, por Centroamérica. Bueno, ahora tenemos la pantalla en negro.
Now we're ready to start tackling a couple of in-space objectives. So next up, we are currently venting down the nose cone, essentially the payload area of Starship, as we get ready to open up this payload door. We were able
Ahora
to
sí
do
tenemos
this
la toma
successfully
de
for the very first time on our last
lo que es la parte interior de la Starship, donde tenemos los satélites de Starlink, los cuales van a ser lanzados como en el vuelo número 10. Ahí tenemos la toma del interior. Se abrió la bahía. Sí, tenemos la bahía de carga abierta. Ahí se ve la luz. Ahora vamos a ver los despliegues de los Starlink desde afuera también. No solo desde el interior, sino también desde afuera. Recuerden que la transmisión pasada lo vimos desde el interior. Pero hoy tenemos dos tomas, tanto interior como exterior. Ya tenemos la comporta abierta. Está todo preparado. Por supuesto ya está despresurizado.
pretty crazy capacity. We'll run through the numbers in
Y
a little bit.
tenemos ya los satélites ahí prontos. Por cierto, son simuladores, no son satélites reales, son simuladores. O sea, simula ser satélites por su tamaño, por su peso, pero no son satélites. Son en total 8 que la Starship va a desplegar. Yo mientras esperamos el despliegue de los satélites y seguimos viendo esta belleza, voy a aprovechar a tomar unos mates. Si quieren comentar algo, como les decía, son bienvenidos a comentar mientras esperamos el despliegue de los 8 satélites. Ahí tenemos la bahía, tenemos la toma interior y tenemos la toma exterior. Ahí se ve la luz por donde van a salir. Recuerden que esta nave es gigantesca. Estamos por llegar a la parte de secuencia y despliegue de satélites, de simuladores de satélites. Recuerden que no son los satélites reales, ya que esto es una prueba. Recuerden que la Starship se va a usar justamente para luego, probablemente el año que viene, empezar a orbitar y empezar a soltar los satélites reales. Bueno, ahí tenemos. Ahí se fue el primero.
Yeah, it takes about a minute for each one.
Y ahí tenemos otro lanzamiento.
Looks real smooth too. They made a couple of tweaks to those rails. If you watched the last ones, it had a couple of bumps on the way out, but moving out super clean this time.
Yeah, and as noted earlier in the show, but definitely worth repeating, Starship will deploy Starlink's more advanced V3 satellites, adding 60 terabits per second of capacity to the
network. No sé si alguno
per
vio la
launch.
transmisión pasada, pero
20
han
times more than each
modificado
Falcon
lo que
9
es la
launch does
carrera
today. Just incredible.
del recorrido, donde entra y toma el satélite y los pulsa. Ahora es más corta, por ende está soltando los satélites mucho más rápido que en el vuelo número 10.
The MVP for these flight tests, where it's not only giving us the views we're seeing right now, but also just real-time data through every phase of flight. So we've got a couple dozen cameras on Starship. We've also got a bunch of cameras spread across the globe, including out in the Indian Ocean, where we've got our fun buoys floating. There goes another one. And I mean, we're using Starlink to bring all of this together. It's our drone shots you see here from our great team down here at Starbase, all connected. So Starlink not only giving us cool views off the planet, but also on the planet, help bring everybody along for all these Starship flights. I think that's number 4. Somebody check my math.
Recuerden que acá estamos hablando de una bahía, una capacidad de carga increíble. Ahora tenemos 8 satélites, pero si
we've got 4 Starlink terminals on the outside of Starship. He uses that to talk to the constellation, and through that, we actually get about 120 megabits of bandwidth for our downlink. That's our real-time HD video, all of our telemetry. So it's not just kind of giving us these cool views inside, but it's giving all that engineering data in real time, including re-entry when normally a plasma layer builds up and blocks you out. Starlink, powerful enough of a frequency that we're able to kind of punch through that and still get that live view. Next one out the door. There we go.
All right, yeah,
Quedan
Starlink
dos.
is the world's largest satellite constellation operating in low Earth orbit to deliver high-speed,
Seguimos
low-latency
viendo.
broadband internet. This provides internet access to people around the world, many of who have never had connectivity before. Oh.
Ven que ahí se ve la toma exterior. Ahí tenemos la toma exterior.
Right. Today, Starlink serves more than 150 countries, territories, and other markets with over 7 million active customers and counting. To meet the global growing demand for high-speed internet, SpaceX expanded its factory over in Bastrop, Texas, which is just outside of Austin, and also introduced Starlink Mini, as well as an upgraded version of the Starlink Standard Kit.
Yeah, and one thing to note about the satellite deploy is that they will be following the same suborbital trajectory of the ship. So these dummy sats will not be going in orbit. We do expect them to burn up on re-entry.
Couple more to go.
Bueno,
I promise one of these days we'll deploy in
Si no me
daylight.
equivoco, quedan dos.
But we're basically trading
Y un éxito.
deploy in the dark so we get those re-entry views for the daytime.
Se va el anteúltimo. Voy a aplaudir desde acá, desde mi humilde casa. Voy a aplaudir este momento. Y ahora sí nos queda el último.
All right, I think we got one more to go.
Bueno, se nos va el último. Y ahí se va.
All right, now with payload deploy complete, Starship will now close its payload door and continue to coast around Earth to the Indian Ocean. We still have a ton of major events to come today, including Raptor Relight at about T plus 37 minutes. That will be followed by atmospheric reentry and splashdown. So with that, we're going to go in another quick post.
La etapa de reingreso.
Yeah, if you can hear us.
Bueno, ahí tenemos, qué lindo, qué hermoso que es ver esto. Ahí tenemos el cierre de la compuerta.
All right, with that payload door closed, we're going to sit tight, enjoy the views, and enjoy the space jams. Again, we'll be back in just a few minutes for Raptor Relight, and then head back for reentry.
Recuerden que esta Starship tiene menos losetas, o sea, menos protección. Tiene menos protección en lo que es el escudo para la reentrada. No porque no quieran protegerla, sino porque justamente recuerden que todos estos vuelos que se hacen es para poner a prueba distintas etapas, distintos arreglos en la nave, exigirla al máximo para luego, cuando realmente se empiece a usar de forma comercial, eviten muchos problemas que se pueden captar ahora. Así que puede haber algún problema en la reentrada, puede haber algún daño, inclusive hasta se puede perder por completo. Pero bueno, como estos son pruebas, todo está permitido. Bueno, ahora se fue lo que es los comentaristas, la transmisión, ya que ya pasó la etapa de despliegue de los satélites. Y bueno, ahí tenemos esa hermosa toma por donde está volando exactamente en este momento la Starship. Así que ahora pasamos a la etapa de la reentrada de la Starship. Un saludo a todos los que están ahí, a todos los que estén mirando. Muchas gracias por estar ahí. Luego tendremos videos y varios shorts de este lanzamiento, por supuesto, como suele ser en el canal. Tenemos 28 minutos. Tenemos esa toma, ese diseño en 3D del planeta Tierra y de dónde está en este momento la Starship. Así que bueno, recuerden que esto de la Starship no solo es por el viaje a Marte. Recuerden que Elon Musk quiere hacer viajes a Marte con lo que es la Starship, sino que también, como buen empresario que es, quiere utilizar la Starship para hacer exactamente lo que acabamos de ver, que es el despliegue de los satélites de SpaceX, de su empresa, de Starlink. Quieren ir preguntando algo mientras esperamos la reentrada de la Starship. Podemos ir diciendo también que bueno, que Elon Musk no solo piensa ir hasta Marte, sino que quiere colonizarlo, aunque bueno, eso realmente estamos muy lejos de lograr algo así. Estos son recién las primeras etapas. Pero se podría decir que ya es un gran paso. Ahí tenemos la velocidad, tenemos la altitud. Telemetría del lado derecho. Nuevamente un saludo para todos los que estén ahí del otro lado. Muchas gracias por estar acá en el canal, muchas gracias por estar compartiendo conmigo esta transmisión. Para mí es un gusto compartir esto con ustedes, sobre todo para la parte habla hispana, ya que bueno, contenido de este hay, pero la mayoría es en inglés y para mí es un honor poder transmitir y compartir con ustedes todo esto. Así que bueno, tenemos un buen recorrido todavía para lo que es la Starship. Ahí tenemos una toma. La S-38. Ahí va orbitando para su reentrada en la Tierra. Luego que haya completado las etapas de forma perfecta, tanto el despegue como la separación del booster y la liberación de los 8 satélites de Starlink.
welcome back everyone. If you're just joining us, you did miss some exciting stuff because Starship successfully deployed its second ever payload, 8 Starlink simulator satellites. And now we're expecting the relight of a single sea-level Raptor engine in space coming up here just after T plus 37 minutes. So about a minute left to go.
Yep, just a little while. I think we're tracking to 37 in around 49 seconds or so. So we should be just about a minute and a half where, again, as Amanda just said, we're going to relight one of those center engines. This will be the third time that we've tried this. We did it successfully back on Flight 10, and then we did it for the very first time back on Flight 6. This is not a deorbit burn. This is demonstrating essentially all of the systems you would need to do a deorbit burn. So that's obviously your Raptor engine, and then also your header tanks, your smaller tanks in the nose cone, where we have liquid oxygen, liquid methane in a smaller, more easily pressurized container, which we can use for on-orbit burns. We're also going to tap into those when we do our landing burn. So this will be a critical capability. Once we go to full orbital missions, you'll have to do a deorbit burn to break out of orbit, send it back down to Earth. But in this instance, we're already on our way back down towards Earth. So this is just going to demonstrate the capability of turning one of these engines on. Should be coming up in just about 20 seconds or so.
Vamos a tener esa hermosa toma de la parte exterior de la Starship, donde se va a ver
since we completed that
todo
successful ascent burn
ese fuego y ese
30
plasma
minutes
que se
ago.
genera en el escudo al chocar en la atmósfera
Here we
y
go.
en ir reentrando, esa fricción que se genera, la cual nos salva de, por supuesto, todo lo que son los asteroides.
Relight looks like engine 3 full duration. As Dan mentioned, that's a third attempt, and we just did it 3 times in a row. So congrats to the team, the ship team, Raptor team. And then there we heard nominal second orbital insertion. All right, so congrats everyone on the milestone. That was awesome to see. We're 3 for 3. We're going to take another break, and we'll be back for re-entry at about T plus 45 minutes. We'll see you soon.
Empieza a girar.
Starship is slow for entry.
Bueno, ya estamos casi que sobre la etapa final de la reentrada. Estamos por llegar a los 40 minutos desde el lanzamiento. Bueno, ahí tenemos. ¿Vieron cómo la Starship se va colocando sobre lo que es la panza? Acá tenemos la Starship uruguaya. La Starship uruguaya. ¿Vieron cómo se va colocando de panza? ¿Sí? De panza, así, para entrar y empezar a trabajar con todas las placas para lo que es la reentrada y que toda la parte que sufra esté de ese lado. Y ahí van viendo, vieron que a veces tira gases que son venteos. Entonces ahí donde la Starship se puede ir colocando sin tener que usar los motores. Bueno, ahí ya tenemos, ya empezamos a tener lo que es la fricción. Está todo en orden. Por ahora todo en orden, todo normal. Los animo a que, bueno, a que comenten, a que escriban lo que más quieran. Alguna duda que tengan también, de dónde están mirando. Todavía no tenemos mucha fricción, pero podemos apreciar que ya hay una fricción sobre las losetas. Ya pasó sobre África. Ahí tenemos la ubicación. Ahora va a pasar por Madagascar. Tenemos esa hermosa toma donde podemos ver los alerones, podemos ver la compuerta, una parte de la compuerta que es la misma toma que estábamos viendo hoy cuando veíamos los satélites, que veíamos un pedazo de la compuerta. Bueno, ahora que hay luz se puede apreciar muchísimo más. Ahí tenemos otro alerón. Recuerden que estamos hablando de una nave que es gigante, que es muy grande, de un tamaño colosal. Recuerden que esta nave mide 50 metros, 120 en total con lo que es el Heavy Booster, pero ahora que está la Starship sola, recuerden que tenemos una nave de 50 metros. Algo colosal. Y 9 metros de diámetro en lo que es la Starship.
All right, welcome back everyone. The
Bueno, ahí
ship is
tenemos de vuelta a los
currently
comentaristas.
re-entering
Vamos a
atmosphere.
ver qué
As a
van
reminder, we
diciendo.
don't plan to recover the spacecraft today, but rapid and reliable reusability is the ultimate goal.
Vamos a escuchar un poquito, a ver.
Side of the rocket there. And, you know, reentry is a critical phase of flight, and we need information on how the ship systems perform. Reentry is also extremely demanding portion of flight because we need the ship to scrub off all of the energy we used to launch the rocket. So remember the 33 engines plus the 6 engines on ship that we used to get up into space, we now are using aero braking essentially to scrub off all that energy. And of course, Starlink is a big part of this, giving us the views we have right now, and also letting us gather as much data as possible, which again is really the main reason why we do these flights. And the view we have right now is actually a really good example. As we mentioned at the beginning of the broadcast, We have some tiles on the leeward side of the flaps here, and we have some different mechanisms, some stud out, basically to see if these tiles will hang on. And, you know, we can see already here, it looks like we kept most of them, but I think I see a couple there that are no longer there. So the thermal team is definitely going to be digging into that and taking that data to help us iterate on V3. So yeah, Starlink provides us with one more path to collect data and help us rapidly iterate Starship's design.
And if the ship does manage to make it all the way to re-entry, we'll collect valuable data on the spacecraft flying through the Earth's atmosphere at hypersonic speeds, or more than 5 times the speed of sound. Re-entry is typically a portion of flight where we don't have communications with spacecraft because it's re-entering at or around orbital velocity, which is roughly 8 kilometers per second or 5 miles per second. At those insanely high speeds, the spacecraft moving through the atmosphere creates a plasma field around the vehicle.
Yeah, and that blanket of plasma distorts communication frequencies, so it's not uncommon to experience brief blackouts in communication. All right, so big picture here, Starship is designed to land on Mars where there are no runways or other humans to help out. So that means we need to do a propulsive landing instead of a more traditional means like parachutes, which is what our Dragon spacecraft uses, or a runway like the Space Shuttle. Propulsive landing enables more rapid reusability.
Now, as the ship makes its way back to Earth, we should start hearing some callouts when we hear entry max heating and entry max Q. That means the ship has made it through the maximum heating and aerodynamic loads it will experience as it returns. So if it makes it through all of those, that's a pretty good sign that we're doing well.
Yeah, and we heard flaps have control of the vehicle now. Okay, there's a great shot there. You're starting to see the plasma build up. So we will hear a call out when the ship is transonic and then subsonic. Transonic refers to the period of flight where the velocities of airflow surrounding and flowing past the vehicle are concurrently below, at, and above the speed of sound, somewhere in the range of Mach 0.8 to 1.2. All right, a lot of numbers coming up here, but for reference, commercial jets have a range of cruising speeds, but most fly around Mach 0.74 to Mach 0.85, which is 480 to 575 miles per hour, or 770 to 930 kilometers per hour. Right now, we're going a little over 26,000 kilometers per hour. So compare that to the airplane at 930, it's like pretty crazy how fast we're going here. All right, and after we hear the call out that Starship is transonic, we should hear the call out that Starship is subsonic. Subsonic, of course, refers to the speed that is much less than the speed of sound. So at that point, the ship's velocity will be starting to slow down, and we'll be looking a little bit more like some of our suborbital flights from, at this point, almost 5 years ago.
Yeah, so re-entry so far is looking pretty good. You can see that plasma field. Also, again, with those missing tile experiments, especially, we're putting the ship through a lot today, but things are looking pretty good so far.
Yeah, we're looking good. I do want to remind people that we are pushing ship to the limits. We've done a lot of these missing tile tests. We did it back on Flight 10. Every time we do it, we throw something new and the ship makes it through. This time, we're really pushing it. We've removed these tiles in some of the spots that see the highest level of heating. And we remove tiles that have zero backup protection underneath. So there's essentially just bare steel. It's one of the heat of re-entry. And so do not be surprised if this is not a very smooth flight on the way down. But again, this is intentional. We are trying to find what are the limits for ship. How resilient are we to these different issues that could pop up? If we lose a tile anywhere in the vehicle, we want to know what that ultimate impact is going to be. So we've got a couple missing. We had a bunch pulled over the primary fuel, the LOX tanks, everything. This one, we've got a tile missing right on top. So that's going to see some of the highest temperatures during this re-entry, and there's just bare steel right underneath it. So we're going to see if Starship's robust enough to pull through that. Also have some tiles missing around the aft flaps, specifically on the leading edge. So again, we're getting a really good look right at the leading edge. That's getting really intense heating. So again, gonna see if it can make it through. See if all the flaps hold on, see if Starship holds together. But definitely could be a bumpy ride, but this is why we're flying. This is why we're flying in this part of the world. This is why we're putting Starship through these flight tests to really understand what its limits are. So we can then move on to the next thing, which is going to be bringing ships back to the launch site for a catch. But for now, still on this suborbital, the light show continuing. Keep following it. I think we got about 15 minutes until splashdown.
Por lo que tengo entendido,
yeah, Dan, it looks, you can see our speed our speed indicator in the bottom left there. It looks like we're starting to scrub off velocity a little bit quicker.
Ship is entering the peak heating phase of flight.
Así dejo la pantalla libre y vemos la reentrada sin mi cara ahí, que esté despejada y vamos a apreciar más. Ahora sí.
Looks like you can see some clouds down there as we pass through 70 kilometers altitude.
Yeah, the sun's starting to come up again. Ooh, there we go.
There we go.
Skirt is intact so far this time. If you watched Flight 10, you saw we entered with a little bit missing. That was ultimately traced to a little bit of buildup. We dumped prop on the way. We had a little bit of solid propellant buildup, and then either static discharge or the plasma ignited it, took out a tiny bit of that skirt, some of the aft flaps, but Starship, again, was able to fight through it, make it all the way to that landing burn. We addressed that, changed some of our prop dump con-ups, though, so should not be seeing that this time around.
Ahí tenemos el plasma, cómo se ve. Cómo ya...
And as a reminder, we're, in addition to these missing tile tests, we're doing kind of a unique flight on the way in. It's going to do what we call a banking maneuver. So while we're still going supersonic and even hypersonic, we're doing kind of a banking turn. And then we'll do a pretty aggressive turn right as we get into the subsonic and start doing our belly flop. And that's designed to essentially be the approach that we would do on a return to launch site and a tower catch. So don't be surprised if we see the ship start to turn and make a few maneuvers as it makes its way down to the Indian. And fun fact, even though we're doing all this turning, we're essentially targeting the exact same spot in the Indian Ocean we went to last time. All right, just about 12 minutes to go. Still looking good. That gives a pretty good view of those aft flaps where, again, on the leading edge, I think it might be on the one on the other side, we had some tiles removed with no backups behind it. So again, we're really trying to stress some of the most sensitive areas around Starships, where basically if you lose a tile, it's the worst possible spot. And if we're able to make it through this, then that tells us quite a bit about just how resilient this vehicle is.
Yeah, and that shot we just had earlier was looking at what we call the business end of Starship with all the Raptor engines. And those are the engines that we're going to be expecting to light for that flip and landing burn, hopefully in about 10 minutes once we get through reentry. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, looking at E3, that's the one. It's the one we did the relight on. So it's 2 for 2 so far. We'll see if it can go 3 for 3. Yeah.
ellos han sacado las losetas en el peor lugar, en el lado más frágil, en el lugar más frágil, para exigir justamente la nave y ver qué es lo que sucede al retirar losetas en la parte más débil y exigirla al máximo.
All right, we can see that speed just continue to bleed off under 20,000 kilometers an hour.
Ojalá se salve.
Ship still holding together.
Recuerden que hay grandes posibilidades de que
Yeah, and if you look in the bottom right, looks like we've made it all the way to the Indian Ocean. We're coming up kind of near Australia, the west side of Australia there, so pretty crazy. We're only 56 minutes in, and we've made it all the way, you know, halfway around the world.
Vamos a ver cómo va la encuesta. Bueno, mucha gente piensa que la Starship sí se va a salvar. Yo estoy con mis dudas, pero bueno.
It's actually a good demonstration of a future capability we hope to have on Starship, where we will do point-to-point transport on Earth. So essentially travel anywhere in the world in about an hour or so, which is, you know, going to be pretty crazy. Imagine going from New York to Sydney in 1 hour instead of the, you know, 20 hours it takes currently.
Y aprovechen a ver el último vuelo del año, el último vuelo de esta generación de Starship.
And a reminder, so this camera is, oh, we see some of the heat rate picking up a little bit. And this camera is embedded right in the end of one of those forward flaps, so you see it moving around. That's the flap adjusting to maintain control. It's like we're getting into our bank maneuver.
No se dañe y aguante lo que es el rozamiento y la temperatura.
Now power sliding through the atmosphere.
External temperatures are coming down.
Miren, ahí el flapper como va. Ahí se va enderezando.
Vehicle is now at maximum dynamic pressure.
All right, that was basically our reverse max Q, so most aerodynamic stress that it's going to see during re-entry, we just passed through it. So we're past that, we're past peak heating. Ship still holding together. So we're currently in this bank maneuver. We're gonna see it kind of roll over and do a pretty significant shift as we get down closer to the subsonic speeds.
Yeah, and that bank maneuver that Dan's mentioning is all in part of us to learn about the guidance, navigation, and control for return to launch site missions. So in the near future, we're hoping to return the ship back to the same pad we just took off on 59 minutes ago, and we've got to do some of these pretty dynamic bankings to make that trajectory work out.
All right, the light show kind of calming down as we're starting to move into the lower parts of the atmosphere. We should hit transonic, so hitting that transition between moving faster than the speed of sound and below the speed of sound in just about 3.5 minutes. Our landing burn should happen right around an hour and 6 minutes after launch, so we should be just about 6 minutes away from that. You can see lots of daylight. Everybody cross your fingers, see if our range team was able to get out there and provide any surprise views as Starship makes its way down. Oh, it's like they heard me. Ready and waiting, let's go.
Dan, you just spoke that view into existence there. And again, all brought to us by Starlink.
Maneuver has started.
All right, there we go. So we're now starting into our really heavy bank maneuver. And this does almost like a half circle loop to our actual trajectory. We're heading to the same exact splashdown point, but we're kind of doing a more roundabout way to get there, where it's this kind of big, long half moon loop and then a really aggressive kind of twist right at the very end. And that would line us up with the launch tower. Starship, on a return to launch site, would fly over the tower, do a quick landing burn flip, and then come down for catching the arms.
How about that S38 decal there, staying strong on that view we just had?
Good to see the numbers back on.
Yeah.
All right, should be hitting transonic in about 2.5 minutes. Landing flip coming up in about 4. Pretty clouds there in the Indian Ocean today. Again, yeah, we changed our launch times. We launch in the evening now, so we get these daytime views down in the Indian Ocean. One of the things we're really looking for, the reason we have the drone, other than, yeah, that looks really cool, is we're able to kind of see the ship. We can only see so much from these cameras. You can't see like the vast majority of the heat shield. So we throw these buoys out there. We've got there's...
You spoke it again, Dan. There it is.
They're playing with me in the control room. All right. But we have these buoys out there. We have these drones that we're trying to see externally how the heat shield held up. Everybody saw from Flight 10, it had a little bit of a paint job, a little bit of a reddish hue. That was from those metallic tiles that we had tested. Kind of oxidizing really rapidly in that plasma and then spreading those little oxide particles all over the heat shield. No metal tiles on this flight, so not expecting to see that.
Dynamic pressure is coming down.
Hope nobody gets seasick. All right, coming up on transonic shortly. About 2.5 minutes of landing burn.
Yeah, and once we get to around the 15-kilometer altitude mark, that's where we have a lot of flight history.
Starship is transonic, starting the belly flop phase of flight.
Yep, that belly flop phase that we perfected in the suborbital campaigns, we're entering that now.
En una mala posición para exigirla a lo último que gire. A ver si lo logro.
Right, starting to get those Raptors ready. Should be 2 minutes away from landing burn. Again, we're going to do a flip. After we ignite those engines, we'll go from 3 down to 2 for the final phase of the landing burn and look for another soft splashdown, hopefully by our buoy and drone, which are hanging out, ready and waiting for a ship.
Está a 500 metros y está en una posición pésima. Ahí vemos los flappers cómo se mueven, a ver si pueden colocarla de vuelta.
Seeing all 3 center engines have entered the chill phase.
Estamos a 6 kilómetros.
All right, less than a minute to go.
The ship is making its turn for final approach.
And here's this kind of aggressive final turn that would essentially position it so it's right behind the launch and catch tower. Flaps holding strong. Landing burn in just under 20 seconds.
Pero está simulando eso.
Ship landing startup.
There's our landing burn. Three down to two.
Starship has landed.
As we said, we're not planning on recovering the ship today. Hey, welcome back to Earth, Starship. We are down in the Indian Ocean. Let him hear it, Starbase. What a day.
What a flight.
Oh. All right. Welcome back to Earth, ship. What a day. A whole lot more to go through. As you just saw, everybody here at Starbase pretty hyped. Hey, Tyler, out of Hawthorne, how's everybody holding up?
Thank you, Dan. We had a fantastic time watching. It was another exciting Starship flight test in the books, and we hope that you enjoyed those Starlink views too. So congratulations to the team at Starbase and everyone here and around the company. So many employees contribute to the Starship program as we continue to iterate and make progress towards a multi-planetary future. So that wraps it up for us here in Hawthorne. Thank you for tuning in, and back to you guys.
Yeah, what an incredible launch today. We had successful liftoff. Booster completed its objective, successfully splashed down over in the Gulf. Obviously, we saw another amazing Starlink deploy as well from ship.
Yeah, we made it through that re-entry, testing all the different experience. We had missing tiles, gave us quite the light show. We had that Raptor relight, 3 for 3. That was ahead of re-entry, of course. And then that awesome splashdown that we just saw, including that dynamic banking maneuver to simulate RTLS when we returned to the launch site. So yeah, we promised maximum excitement, and Starship delivered.
Definitely.
Congrats to all our teammates at SpaceX and to everyone who's supporting the Starship program. And thank you to all our future customers for your support.
We'd also like to thank the fine people of Cameron County, including the residents of its newest city, Starbase, as well as the Coast Guard, the Federal Aviation Administration, the Government of Mexico, and the Australian Space Agency.
Yeah, be sure to follow SpaceX on X for updates and about more of the exciting views we didn't get to feature on today's broadcast.
And if you're interested in more launch coverage just like this, head over to spacex.com/launches for the most up-to-date information.
All right, I will take us out. Hey, congrats, Jake and Amanda. You guys did amazing. Great job. All right, today we launched the world's biggest rocket, knocked out all of our objectives. Shout outs to every single person who made this look easy. Thank you to everybody tuning in. We're going to see you back here for the very first flight of our next generation Starship. So we'll see you then. Good night.
Bueno, gente, ha terminado la transmisión del lanzamiento. Quiero agradecerles a todos ahí del otro lado, los que hayan estado. Y bueno, este fue el último lanzamiento del año y fue algo épico. estamos colocando simplemente la transmisión de un Falcon que va a despegar en un rato. Y tenemos la torre de donde salió la Starship del lado derecho. Y bueno, no sé si alguien va a comentar algo por ahí. Voy a quedarme un poquito más. Recuerden que, bueno, podemos repasar un poquito. Recuerden que la Starship no sobrevivió, pero el objetivo prácticamente se podría decir que era justamente ese, que no sobreviva, al exigirla al máximo, al hacerla creer que estaba yendo hacia la torre, hacia los brazos de la torre en Boca Chica. Pero bueno, no estaba sucediendo eso, sino que estaba yendo hacia una plataforma en el Pacífico. Y la trajeron de forma horizontal y mal colocada, para luego, cuando estaba a punto de llegar a lo que es la plataforma, hacer un giro, colocarse de forma vertical, y lo lograron. También lograron una reentrada con un escudo mucho más debilitado, y no solo que estaba debilitado, sino que estaba debilitado en la parte más jodida y más delicada de la nave, lo cual ha sido un verdadero éxito, porque vimos que lo que es el escudo y lo que era la parte donde más recibía el plasma en la reentrada no sufrió prácticamente daños en comparación con lo que fue la número 10. Luego vamos a tener la repetición de este directo, o sea, vamos a tener un par de videos con ya la toma del despegue y sobre todo también de la toma de el amerizaje. Bueno, y yo quiero nuevamente agradecer a los que estuvieron del otro lado. Sé que el chat, bueno, no estuvo activo, es una pena, pero bueno, no importa, porque tuvimos gente mirando del otro lado. Y eso es lo que al fin importa, que bueno, que esto se difunda, ya que es algo real, es algo que está sucediendo, y está genial que mucha gente sepa de este proyecto del empresario Elon Musk y de su futuro viaje a Marte. Así que bueno, así nos despedimos de lo que es la Starship y su última etapa en esta versión, y su última etapa en lo que es el booster. Y esperamos el 2026 con una nueva etapa para lo que es la Starship y el booster. Son 2 años de pruebas para dar un cierre exitoso, y esperar el 2026 con una nueva etapa. Bueno, ya casi que no tenemos casi nadie conectado. Recuerden que yo lo que quiero hacer con esto es, bueno, que en lo que es el habla hispana esto se fomente más, se divulgue más, lo que es Sudamérica acá, que la gente sepa más, que, bueno, se interese de esto es real, esto está sucediendo, esto está bueno. Y vamos a esperar al 2026 ahora, donde, bueno, Elon Musk va a probar su próxima etapa del booster y su próxima etapa del la Starship va a ser un booster más grande, una Starship más grande, y luego de esa etapa va a pasar a la etapa de empezar a soltar satélites de Starlink, pero reales, y luego, hablando de etapas así a grosso modo, pasaríamos a la etapa de el viaje a Marte, pero bueno, eso estamos muy lejos aún. Entonces tenemos una ventana de 2026 a 2028, como tuvimos ahora en 2 años. Tenemos a partir del año que viene una nueva ventana que es 2 años de prueba, para luego sí pasar a la otra etapa. Así que bueno, por mi parte ya me estaría despidiendo. Ya vivimos el último vuelo, la última etapa de la Starship y el Heavy Booster. Lo que ya por este año ya no tendremos más lanzamientos. Así que bueno, por mi parte, si no hay nadie que quiera comentar algo más, bueno, ahora ya se han ido todos los espectadores, pero bueno, a lo mejor puede entrar alguien más. Me iré despidiendo.